our landing gear. Our landing gear got a handle, it's properly stowed, securely mounted, it's not loose or missing any parts. Then we have our landing gear legs. They're not loose, bent, broken, or cracked. There's no debris on them, and they're all the way up in the raised position. Then we have our cross member on our landing gear. It's not bent, broken, or cracked. It's securely mounted, and all hardware is present. Our landing gear on the outer hardware is securely mounted. It's not bent, broken, or cracked, and all hardware is present. Now we're going to go down to the side of our trailer. Halfway down, got a marker light. It's securely mounted. It's amber in color. No moisture inside. No hardware is present. It's not missing anything. It operates 3. So marker light, 4-way flasher, and left turn signal. So we're gonna go in the back. We got hoses back here. They're not dragging. There's nothing leaking or sparking. We don't smell anything burning. We don't hear anything. All those hoses for brakes, for electricity and everything back here for our lights. That's what all those hoses are for. We got a trailing mount arm that's on this trailer. We do not have U-bolts, leaf springs, or spring mounts on the trailer. If it did, our spring mounts, our U-bolts, and our leaf springs would be securely mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. All hardware would be present. No scissoring on those leaf springs. We still have a shock absorber. It's got rubber bushings. It's securely mounted. It's not bent, broken, or cracked, and it's not leaking. Then we have our little airbags that say Goodyear on each side. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts. No leaking. They're securely mounted, and all hardware is present. And they are straight with the frame, in line with the frame. Then we have our tandem assembly, our sliding tandem assembly. Pins are in place. The handle is in the locked position, and all hardware is present, and it's securely mounted to the frame of the trailer. Then we want to talk about our brakes. Our brakes in the system are the same as up there. We've got hoses. They come off the brake chamber. They're securely mounted. They're not bent, broken, or cracked. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and there's no leaking. Then we have our brake chambers on each side. They're not bent, broken, or cracked. They're securely mounted, and they're not leaking. Then we have our slack adjuster, which is hard to see, but it's back there. That slack adjuster is securely mounted. It's not bent, broken, or cracked, and all hardware is present. Then we have our push rod. It's at a 90-degree angle, and it's at no more than an inch of play when the brakes are disengaged. That takes us to our brake drum. You can see it on that other side. No bluing to excessive heat. Securely mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. And then we've got our brake pad. At least 1/4 inch of padding. Securely mounted. Got no oil or debris that are blocking our pad. Those are our brakes. So we did our suspension. We did our brakes. We're gonna come out to the tires. Tires on the trailer. Sidewalls of the tires. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts on all 4 tires. No leaking. They're all tight to the rim. Top of the tread of each tire. At least 2/32 of an inch, even wear. I would check that with a tread depth gauge. I would check my pressure through the valve stem, and I would add air if I needed it. The valve stem's got a metal cap. This one doesn't have it, so we just report it so we can get one. We want to make sure the valve stem itself is not bent or twisted, and it's securely mounted and not leaking. Then we've got all the lug nuts on each side. They're not bent, broken, or cracked. They're securely mounted, and all hardware is present. Then we want to talk about the rims between the tires. They are butted rims. They're not bent, broken, or cracked or twisted. No illegal welds, and there's no debris between the tires back here. We got proper spacing between the tires. Proper space between the tires and the top of the trailer, or the bottom of the trailer in this case. On each side, proper space between this axle and the bumper, these tires and this mud flap, the mud flap to the ground, the mud flap bracket to the trailer. There's nothing touching it. Everything is good and not touching and dragging. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts. Then we want to come to our hub axle. It's not bent, broken, or cracked. It's securely mounted, and all hardware is present. Did I do lug nuts? I'm going to do them again because I don't remember. If you guys are on this test and you forget something, or you think you might have not said it, I know you've been doing it for like an hour. It's okay. You can just talk about it again. It's not going to fail you. Lug nuts, they're all present. No silver or shiny thread. No rust trails. And they're not bent, broken, or cracked. Talked about our axle. Talked about the tires. Talked about the rims. Outer rims. Inner rim. stems, talked about the tandem. Now we go to the mud flap. I know we did the valve stems. I would check this axle the same way I did that one. If I missed anything, I guess I missed a point. We're not perfect, right? Now we're gonna get to our mud flap, the bracket itself. Securely mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. All hardware is present. Mud flap itself, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. We know it's not dragging, we already talked about that. We're gonna come over here to the end of our trailer on the side. We got an ABS light. It's not bent, broken, or cracked, no moisture inside. All hardware is present. It's plugged in. It's amber in color. It goes on and then off. If it stays on when you have your truck running, there's something wrong with your automatic braking system. So you need an anti-lock braking system, so you want to get that looked at. This is a side marker light, so we know where the end of our trailer is. It's red in color. It's securely mounted. It's not bent, broken, or cracked, and there's no moisture inside. So now we go to the back. We have a seal. We're going to pretend that's not there, or we can report it. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts on the seal, and it seals nicely so we don't get any leaks inside of our trailer. We got our door hinges. This one has 2 doors. They're not bent, broken, or cracked. They're securely mounted and all hardware is present. We got 100% DOT tape across the doors. Doors themselves, they're not bulging. They're in the lock position. They're not loose or missing anything. Our door handles are in the stowed position. They're latched on the top and the bottom. They're securely mounted. All hardware is present. We go up to the front. We've got clearance lights up there. They're red in color. There's no moisture inside. They're not bent, broken, or cracked. Come back down here. We've got our rear lights. Rear lights, not bent, broken, or cracked. Securely mounted. Red in color. No moisture inside. All hardware is present. They operate as 4 ways. Left and right turn signal, running lights, and marker lights, and brake lights. Then we have our DOT bumper. Not bent, broken, or cracked, securely mounted. It's got 100% DOT tape, and all the hardware is present. I would check the passenger side the same way I checked the driver's side. This completes the outside inspection for the truck and trailer.